From a workshop in Bordeaux to Ultimate Fields worldwide, Force Ultimate creates custom gear with care. Locally made, low impact, built to perform. No outsourcing, no shortcuts, every piece crafted in-house by skilled artisans. Built to withstand every dive and sprint, this gear is as tough as your game. Your sport, your team, your Force. Why choose Force? Exceptional quality, eco-friendly production, and every kit is designed with your team's identity in mind. Force Ultimate, built to perform, made to last. Gear up now at forceultimate.com.
Welcome back to the European Youth Ultimate Championships here in Trnava, Slovakia. We've had a fantastic semi-final Friday, but it's now time to hand out some medals. And we're here in the women's division for the first bronze medal game. Belgium taking on the Czech Republic. Liam Grant alongside John Doherty for this game. Always a difficult one, the bronze medal. You have to bounce back after losing the semi-finals. You're going to be playing on the same day. Any thoughts going into this game, John?
Yeah, I think normally, like you said, the bronze medal game, sometimes you're wondering what's the attitude maybe of the teams coming in. Are they feeling down from the last game? I think of all three divisions, this is the one where that will be least of a factor. I think coming into the division, maybe some teams were thinking they have a chance at the final, but I feel coming in, it seemed like there was two clear teams that were at the top of this division, and those are the two teams that have met in the final now, France and Italy. And I think for both these teams, coming away from this event with a medal they would have definitely, I think, taken that at the start of the event. Obviously, when you get to a semi-final, you want to dream that you can go a little bit further, but I don't think anyone can complain based on the results that these are the right two teams in the final, and in my opinion, the right two teams here playing for this bronze medal. So again, I think both these teams going to be very much up for this game, and luckily for us, their last game went to Universe. So let's see how it goes this time.
I'm sure all the neutral fans will be hoping for the same here. Let's look at that bracket. You know, both teams fought hard in the semi-finals. It was close at times between both Belgium and France and Italy and Czech Republic, but at the end, I think the stronger teams has pulled away, perhaps a bit more depth in those sides. And yeah, this should be a great bronze medal game. I think both nations, Belgium and Czech, kind of on the rise, particularly in the women's side, and I think they'll be very proud and very happy to be wearing the bronze medals at the tournament party later.
Yeah, exactly. Both these teams, like I said, they're not going to be feeling sorry for themselves in this game. They might feel a little bit sorry for themselves if they come out of this day without a medal. But again, both these teams going to be going flat out for it, and I don't expect either team to be thinking too much about what could have been.
So Belgium will be wearing black and starting off on defense. Czechia, or Czech Republic, whichever we want to call it, will be wearing white with grey shorts. We'll see what they can muster up here. Anna Cheshova leading the team in assists. Well, she is 18, very close with Hadova, but definitely the anchor of this O-line. Now we see that famed Belgium zone to get things going. Zaluska, her and her brother have had a fantastic tournament so far. Now a laser of a forehand. That was exquisite. Only about head height the whole way down the field, but just ripped it into the hands, and that a beautiful clean hold to kick things off for the Czech Republic.
Yeah, really nice hook there as well. There, I think that's the first time this week it's the slightly upwind end zone. They scored into their Chekova, one of the three sisters on the team. She's one of the stronger throwers on this team. So again, no surprise to see her throwing a flick hook there into these conditions. And hits her teammate in the end zone. Two of the stat leaders on this team, and again, it's kind of, we can expect a bit of that. I think both these teams capable of the deep shots, capable of working the unders, and yeah, like I've said, their last game went to Universe, so it's going to take a couple of points to figure out how the momentum of this game is going to go. But both these teams traded very closely the entire way through their last game. Both team getting both in their the previous Belgium Czech matchup. Plenty of breaks by each team, so expect this game to go back and forth.
Fantastic conditions for playing a bit of Ultimate here in Trnava. As we see another break to pull, both teams needing to adjust to the small bit of wind, kind of blowing towards our camera. One here on the near sideline and another brick to start things off. Horizontal stack for Belgium. We see in the middle we have Desmet and Kopijans working together in the middle of the field. Desmet. Now the Spiel puts one into space and a brilliant run through the big moment for Czechia to kick things off for them. They're now in possession of the first break. Velechkova with that brilliant run through D. Let's see what they can do here. Stanislavova, that thought of a dangerous throw, and the hammer was on that occasion. Deep shot is there. Holstered that one. Emma Desmet was in acres of space going deep. Travel called. Dale. Bonnie Dale will have to go back on this occasion, but nice flow here from Belgium. And now a frosty forehand to Emma Desmet. Bounces out of her hands, unfortunately. It was a nice shot.
Yeah, a couple of aggressive throws by both these teams here. Hadova with the previous hammer turnover. She's definitely probably the most confident player on the team of throwing those, as playing with this junior program, it feels like for a very long time. And again, with the Belgians, against the French, I felt they had so much success deep on offense and defense. No surprise to see them shooting deep here as well.
Matching up the field again, the Czechs. Stanislavova. Getting high in the stall count. Nice reset again. That low forehand will be easily picked off by Belgium. Having to rescue that one from the turf. Looking downfield. Asking a lot of Desmet on that occasion.
Yeah, I think seeing a bit in this point, just a little bit of inconsistency by both the teams, and I think that's really the difference between them and the two teams in the final. There's plenty of talent, but to do it the whole way through the game seems to be the difficulty.
And there we see another lapse of concentration. I think, you know, playing the semi-finals earlier, quick turnaround time, very difficult to reset the mind. Desmet again, and this is an 0 point for Belgium, and it's been a long grind already. The Spiel had moved it over to Van den Busche. Now attacking upfield again is the Spiel. Being forced backhand. But the left-handed player able to get that forehanded open wide, and they get their hold eventually. Freeze this time. The top scorer for this Belgium side, 20 assists and now our 8th goal of the tournament.
Yeah, Belgians kind of, obviously, you always want to be scoring your first offensive points. And I think the Czechs need to do a little better with their capitalizing on those, because, like I've said, the last time these teams played, there was a couple of breaks each, but it wasn't like they came easily. And both these teams obviously going to be a little bit better since then. So I think the Czechs have to take a little more time on their offense and a little more care, because they're not going to probably get as many break chances in this game as they did the last time. And I believe they were up 1 or 2 points towards the end of the last game against the Czechs, or against the Belgians. Sorry. So again, a couple of breaks early. I don't think this game will get out of hand for either team, but if you get 1 or 2 breaks early, either of these teams is capable of playing well, and either of these teams is capable of having a bit of a down run. So it's very possible one of these teams could go on a run if they take their chances.
That was a long, hard point for the Belgian O-line, but they got it done, which is the main thing for them. So able to seek some shade, and they have the ice towels on standby. Definitely such a great delegation of support staff, from coaches, physios, chefs, water boys. They have it all here. But now it's Czech again who are in possession. Again, the zone from Belgium, slowing them down but not stopping them. Klara Cheshova.
Yeah, 2 Chekova sisters there having a little bit of family passing between each other against the zone.
Getting some good yards here, the Czechs. Alina fires a forehand. That one, it's not going to stay in bounds. And it's the first break opportunity for Belgium of the game. And it will be taken by Franca Pez. Getting high in the stall count. Gonna have to do something, just lofts a floaty backhand, and the Czechs definitely quickest to react to that. So first break opportunity, and they can't get the first pass off, unfortunately, for the Belgians. So back with the Czechs. Oh, and a dangerous pass and a bit of a ghosty. Not sure if she got a tip on that one.
Yeah,
Elodie Mastelis.
Katarova, after gets the block, just unable to hold on to the disc on that one. So another chance for the Belgians.
And they're able to get some passes going here now. Verheim. Back to Franca Pez. Oh, and again, struggling with their D-line offense just to execute those passes that they're expecting to do.
Yeah, I think it was a bit the same in the last game. They struggled a bit at the start, and in the last game when it was against the French, I thought it was a good sign for them that they were going to get the break opportunities. But I think more against the Czechs, I think they'd prefer if they could start with a cleaner offense rather than more break opportunities.
So Czechs, third time of asking now. High pass from Chekova. Well taken down. Brilliant from Franca Pez. Earns that one back. Looks like there could be a call.
Yeah, I think Chekova called foul. Not sure if she thought she was stepped on, or if maybe with the way the disc was coming down, she felt maybe she was a bit more entitled to the position she was in. Not entirely sure. We might see here on the replay. Not someone I see too often in Czech Ultimate making calls, so. Yeah, not entirely sure what the call is there.
I think she's suggesting that she
carried
like her momentum into her. I think that's
potentially might have been a foul to stop the play for a second, as in maybe she landed on her foot and she just wanted a second to recover, perhaps not necessarily an injury. Well, I guess maybe an injury, but maybe just slow it down for a second.
You can see there was some contact in the follow through, but it's not going to matter much as the Belgium D-line struggling right now. They've been getting the turns, which is great for them, but the D-line offense really struggling. Throws one out into space, that beautifully executed and now punched in, and they get it done, Czechs.
Yeah, I think it was Chekova with the score there. We'll have to get used to hearing their names with 3 of them in this game, and 2 of them playing on the O-line, I think, so heavily involved with the handlers. And a messy point to start, and again, like I've said, I think at that point maybe kind of sums up perhaps the difference between these 2 teams and the 2 teams in the final. Although watching the Belgian-French game this morning, you could say at the start the French looked like both these teams. So just in regards of the final, for me, it's the one team I've seen all the teams, and the one team that I've not seen unimpressive, I would suggest, is the Italians. Every time I've seen them, they've looked good. Every other team in the division, I've had spells where they look good, and then spells maybe you would say a bit more like this point. So again, I would think the Italians have a very strong chance tomorrow, but the Czechs pushed them for most of the game, but when it really mattered near the end, they pulled away. I think maybe with the Belgians against the French, the kind of writing was on the wall a little bit earlier in that game, that the French kind of always looked somewhat in control, and the Belgians had times where they looked like they were going to make a comeback, and like I imagine the people at home would have been very excited, but it was always going to be a very hard battle for them. So
both sides having break opportunities, but failing to capitalize. A lot of zip on the pass. Will it land in bounds? Just sails out the sideline.
teams probably trying to save some effort, not having to run down the pulls perhaps in these conditions. And sometimes I tell teams and the women's teams I'm coaching, sometimes a brick isn't the worst pull.
Freeze was for the lofty, high backhand. Vandenbush has been so good for this Belgian side. Back now at Freeze, driving up line. Some poaches in the lane, and that is a great poach block from the Czechs. Vachova doing a great job to read the play. And now again, this laser forehand, which has been a real part of the Czech offense. And they get the first break of the game, and they are pumped up right now.
Yeah, head over there with the score in the end zone, and another block there by a player playing with 3SB in the European season this year. So good to see them. Two of them playing with Artrutz in a domestic league, and then playing with 3SB on the international one, and then had over long-standing East Block player there, and spirit captain and one of the leaders of this team. So lots of the leaders of the team involved in that break. And again, if you're the Czechs getting a break early, I guess someone's definitely going to always be getting a break early in this game, and I imagine we're going to see a couple more breaks before the end of this one. But again, from the Czech perspective, always nice to get that first one, and now it puts a little bit of pressure on the Belgians. But again, expect both these teams to be getting a couple of breaks each. I should probably give a shout out to my Czech son as well, just while we have the Czechs on their last stream of the tournament. So if you're listening, hello Aaron. And our co-commentator as well, I suppose she deserves a shout out, as well as mother, who does a great job allowing me to come here for a week to commentate on Frisbee while she minds the whole household. A great girl. And
did you say her name?
I struggle with her name. As you'll notice, I avoided saying the name until that point. So for anyone listening, wondering how come he doesn't seem to get too many names right, there you go. There you have your information. That's why we called our son Aaron, a very easy name to pronounce.
Shout out to the Toshnarova sisters, who I'm sure are watching and cheering on. John's comedy skills, obviously, and maybe the players on the field as well. But Belgium looking to bounce back, and some nice flowing offense here. Knocking the doorstep now, and that an easy goal for them. Brilliant from Bonnie Dalle. I think that's just her second goal of the tournament.
Yeah, that's the kind of response you want by if you're the Belgian coaching staff. The last point was kind of long and messy, and then this one nice and quick. So now you get the Czechs back out on the line and get yourself a chance to get a break and put on some of these slightly taller Belgian players. I'd imagine they're the tallest team in the women's division, and it really showed in the last game against France. Every time a disc was in the air, it was basically favouring Belgium. I don't think the French completed one hook in the entire game against the Belgians.
I think this was a zone here from the Czechs, but never really got set, and Belgium ran up the field with great momentum. Been really impressed with these Czech flick hooks and really kind of pinged them. It's kind of an unusual style, a lot of pace, quite low to the ground, not a lot of touch, but just hits their players downfield, and it's working really well for them.
Yeah, I think as someone playing in the Czech Republic, there isn't that much wind there, and perhaps finally after a couple of seasons of losing games or just being incapable of throwing in the wind, some people finally started coaching properly about putting snap on those discs. So I know whenever I'm coaching, I'm always telling teams, just presume it's windy. If your throw would be good in the wind, it will be good in the flat. So
Czechs back out on offense. Again, a kind of passive zone from Belgium. It's trying to take away the easy options from the Czech handlers. Zaluska and Siana Zaluska in the pivot position for a Czech.
yeah, I think these zones, they're going to do a good job at slowing the Czechs. And then the key is what happens once the Czechs get that first pass through it, because they're a very quick moving team once they get it going, but I find they're not very progressive at making that first move to get through the zone. So
there it is now, that incredible grab, leaping into the air like a salmon. Brilliant stuff from Hadova to get some kind of yards, but Belgium recover now again. You feel like when they get behind the zone, they really want to carry that momentum downfield. Some nice give-go action from Clara. That a feathery forehand and eaten up by the Belgium deep. It was always a danger to test the Belgians in the air. You feel like they have the height advantage. Delanote was the one minding the house on that occasion. A few little risky biscuits there from the Belgians. A lot of contact on that catch. Apology comes in from Hadova. A chance for the Belgians to break back here. Nice towering grab again for Hofstadt. Getting behind the stalk out now. Is going to tease one towards the end zone and shepherded out of bounds, I believe, by the Czechs.
yeah, I think it was Hadova with the block as well, and she wanted to give a shout out to one of her teammates who she's coaching, one of the younger players in this team, Krislova. Haven't had a chance to give her a shout out yet, but great to see in the junior division there's players on the team who are the coaches of other players who've made their national team. So
you see Czechia trying to find some space behind the zone. Belgium doing a really good job of having two players sitting on the wings, three up top, just quite narrow, and I was about to say taking away all the space in the middle, but there they do find some space in the middle, thread the needle.
yeah, I would definitely say in previous seasons the zone has always been a good choice of defense against the Czechs, but this Czech team in particular probably somewhat capable of playing against the zone compared to other Czech teams.
Going around the house again. The Czechs staying patient. This is Zuzana now, number 10, but back across. The Czechova sisters have their hands all over this game. Now Zuzana looking for the pop pass. That is the give-go action we expect from this Czech side. It's going to be a tool used to unlock the zone. The match defense now from Belgium. Great throw to open up the field. Zaluska resets. Holika, and there it is. A nice possession working the whole way up the field from the Czechs. They found an answer to the zone.
Yeah, and I think it was Hadova again. I think it was her again with another upwind, and the Czechs looking very good here once they get it going, and the Belgians doing a good job at slowing them down initially, but you're only going to get so many chances in these games, and Czechs currently starting stronger, and I think the Belgians might need to just take a little moment to get themselves back into it, because there's not that much of a difference between these teams, and that's going to make it very hard to make a bit of a comeback later in this game.
Certainly the Belgium sideline staying loud and proud here. Parents and a lot of the open and mixed team there to support this nation. We'll have the Belgium Open team in the bronze medal game later as well. So it'll be a busy day for the Belgian fans here at Trnava. So the score is 4-2 now, I believe.
Yeah, to the Czechs. We got a little confused that they were adding a score to the our personal scoreboard here in the booth got updated a little bit late, so it created a bit of confusion for me. But our volunteers have the right scoreboard online.
Let's see what the Belgians can do. Going upward now. I feel like they need to be scoring a lot of those 0 points. Vandenbusche. Back now. The Spiel. The left-handed player wants that inside forehand. You see a backhand force being put on from the Czechs. Bit of a travel there, but retains possession now. Lofts one up, well adjusted on the reception. Brilliant from Belgium, clean hold. Elodie Marcellus getting her 7th goal of the tournament. Little pirouette that picked that one out of the sky, and brilliant from the Belgians. I feel like they can use that weapon quite a lot, their deep game. I think it's going to be an advantage they have.
Yeah, I was saying it all during the semi-final this morning when they were somewhat behind against France. I was just almost pleading with the coaching staff to realize what their advantage was, and in my opinion, it was in their height and their deep game. I'm not necessarily sure if it's a speed advantage. Being tall doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be fast, but I thought I was even speaking as well to the Czech coach a little bit before the game, and I just said, well, maybe these are 1 or 2 little things I had, and he said that they actually felt they had good success with as we saw there, the backhand and kind of pushing them deep in their last matchup. And obviously he's a bit more used to these matchups than I am, and you saw there, even though it was a backhand force and it was a bit of a deep shot and somewhat open grab, it wasn't as clean as it could have been, so it was close to a turnover. So I think the Czechs do have different options they can use here against the Belgians in this game if they find one defense isn't working.
The Czech women definitely bring a lot of fun and energy to this tournament. This is like just a match defense from Belgium, and a wayward pass rescued in the end. The backhand goes up. This could fall just short. No, goes over the fingertips of the Belgian defense. On that sky ball, asking questions of Belgium, and they have the answers on this occasion.
I think the Shore is going to be wanting that one back. I think the idea wasn't so bad, but it really needed to be more into the back corner. I think the wind, again, the players aren't used to the wind blowing this way this week, so perhaps a bit of a late adjustment to that.
A chance for Belgium to break. High release backhand into traffic. Belgium capitalized though. Better D-line offense here. Injury called on the Czech side. That looks like Zuzana Chekova. And we're hoping she's okay.
Yeah, she was a bit far away from the disc and called that late. Sometimes that's almost a more worrying sign when a player you don't see an immediate impact and they just have to take a minute to go off. And she looks a little bit upset there on the sideline. Although It's a bit of something I've seen a few times. So hopefully she's back. When I say a few times, I mean I'm used to in the Czech Republic seeing people going off, but not necessarily for injuries, but back under play here.
Have to go for the reset now. Belgium is, again, they use the high release backhand to great effect. Schulten getting high in the stall count. Narrow window, well collected. Getting the continuation to break side now. This would be a massive moment for Belgium if they could get this break back. And a nice inside backhand. Brilliant stuff, and they're pumped up right now. Sophie Delanote getting it done, and there we see the break train from Belgium finally gets rolling in this bronze medal matchup.
Yeah, I've said it before, I'll say it again. This probably won't be the last break we'll see in this game, I think. Right up until the end, we can expect to see more breaks. And again, it's going to be a game of runs, and there hasn't necessarily been a run yet. I'm not going to say one break is a run, but the Belgians here with the first chance to go on a run of consecutive breaks.
You can see on the replay here, with his forced backhand, Belgium getting a lot of joy with the high release backhand. That one not particularly high, but just attacking that high release backhand side, and gets their first break of the game. Birthday for Sophie Delanote, so I guess it's a birthday break for Belgium. What a moment in the game for her. And you feel like Belgium needed that one and just kind of get the joy back into the game. You know, had that tough semi-final loss, and just a little moment like that for the birthday girl to get the break.
Yeah, and the guys, again, just coming across from their game where they just lost the semi-final also. We start to hear a bit of that Belgium sideline volume coming now. And again, birthday break might be the chant of the night for them if they get some bronze medals.
Yeah, birthday bronze has a nice ring to it as well. But Czechia are hoping for a different outcome, and they're already past halfway line, looking composed here. This one will be very close. Looks like it will be a turnover.
Yeah,
kind of running out of space and time.
East block connection there, just unable to keep that in bounds. Head over again, just unlucky not to get to it.
Cleo de Slover in a very difficult position on the sideline. Is going to have to throw. It looks like a stall out is called, and looks like it is accepted.
I like to see that, an actual stall out where the disc hasn't even been released. You rarely see it. Maybe it was a little bit fast, but it did seem like she had it for a while. So again, good spirit there just to accept the stall out and not even bother throwing it.
And one pass offense there for the Czechs. Disappointing for Belgium. You feel like she would have liked at least got the hook off on stall 9 and get some field position. Didn't happen on that occasion. Don't think she had a viable option, in fairness to her. Difficult position on the corner. No one really free. Turned around to throw the stall 9 Hail Mary, but not coming off. But no, back on serve now. So
difficult position for her to be in there as well, like you said, in that corner. You don't see the flags blowing too much yet, but that is probably the worst area to be on the field with the disc now. Very hard to get any crossfield throws out of that position also. I think sometimes if you're on the other side and the throw is forcing you in there, and potentially have some hammer options, but even less options when you're kind of stuck on the backhand force sideline. Very, very limited overhead options you can hit. Yes, you can get off the backhand hook, but you have to make sure you get enough outside in on it to get it to come back in. The worst thing that could happen is, well, maybe not as bad as a stall out, but the worst thing that can happen is you force a hook and it doesn't even come back in bounds. So. Drums starting to beat on the far sideline now. This is going to continue for the entire game, and it's only going to get louder if this game stays closer, if the Belgians go on a run.
This pull again, fading towards this near sideline. Happening to several teams, pulling upwind. Freeze. Taking it from the brick mark. Gets nice under to kick things off. Hespil launches deep. 2 competing in the air. Can't get it on the second occasion either. Good defense from Czechia.
Yeah, I think Babakova there, I believe she plays in Pisek. Haven't given a shout out to too many of the Czech clubs this week, but Pisek there, a lot of really young, talented female players, and a couple of them mentored Peter Hatt as one of their role models, and doing a lot of good work there. We call him Snake. That's apparently what his name is in Czech. Maybe I should have said that instead of butchering his second name, but just wanted to give him a shout out, doing a lot of good work there with that team.
Yeah, it was Dora Babakova who got good position, but Desmet wins this one back.
Yeah, I think a foul call there, and I think not entirely sure. She might end up retracting it. It looked like it was to the Belgian player. There's been a couple of foul calls this week where I feel like if you're going to use the rule where you would say that potentially if there has to be a bit of a bump to make the play, that maybe some players might call those. And
I think that's incidental contact. I think both of them are moving in the same space. I don't think she necessarily had position. Have a look at it again here. I think it was a bit underthrown. Looks like Desmet's almost there first. They're both moving towards the space. Desmet gets there first. It's a turnover in my opinion.
I think there in that one, yeah, it's more clear that it's a turn. I imagine the players might end up coming to that conclusion anyway, but
and you understand there is contact, but
yeah,
both players moving towards the disc, and I think Emma Desmet was there first, got her hand to the disc, and
yeah, for me it's almost close enough to start signaling turnover here from the booth, but I also feel like it's up to the
I have no
players.
problem giving my opinion. They don't have to listen to it, but
I think a turn would be a better decision than a contest, but they decided between themselves, and I guess that's up to them to do that. I don't think it was necessarily sometimes people might say, oh, terrible calls. I know there was
I think it was a bad call.
maybe in the last game there was earlier there was a call in the corner between Italy and France where I thought a player was making a call. People thought maybe it looked a bit unusual, but again, I don't think too many players I've seen have been making calls this week where you're thinking it's a unspirited call. Perhaps bad call, maybe you could interpret it that way.
I certainly can and have, but
There you go, maybe you're right.
the disc never lies. Not on this occasion, as Belgium get it back in better field position, but throw it away themselves. So
Order has been restored. Both teams had their chance, and now we're back here again. Get a clean passage of play now.
not an easy under for the Czechs. And again, Belgium caught sleeping a little bit. Need to get a little tighter. But again, neither team clicking right now on this point.
You get the feeling this is going to be a good chance for a break for the Belgians here, and if this point takes a bit longer,
It's an offensive point, I believe, for Belgium.
oh, my bad.
Looking at the personnel out there anyway, that's what I'm basing it off. There has been multiple turnovers, so you kind of do forget. I think the next break would have to be upwind by either team. Hespil again launches, and good positioning and recovery play from Czech Republic. Bushkova.
Yeah, one of the Artruds players, another team with a couple of players here. Again, a really good spread of actual players from around the Czech Republic on this team. I think with the Belgians, there's a couple more that come from maybe 3 core teams, where I feel in the Czech Republic there's a very good women's scene with a couple of clubs with a lot of young talent.
See, trying to surround a stack there, Belgium, but left that inside shot open and just about holds on, Czech. So good field position now. Come with the vert stack, trying to isolate the front. They do so to Zaluska. Pump fakes. Looking for the reset. And gets, but it has to go backwards. Not much happening downfield from the Czechs. Again, Zaluska has the space to get busy. Nice roll and switch from Belgium. Some smart defense from them. And now the under is there, but laying out sensational play. Belgium with the mic drop moment. to win it back.
Yeah, I think that was Adams with that one. I think the number 42, huge play. Czech player maybe slowed down a bit and gave her the window, and she took full advantage of it.
Adams showing her worth. This is sky ball. 2 Belgians there, 1 Czech.
We get ourselves another call here, maybe. Not sure, it looked very close to the back of the end zone. Ends up being retracted.
Yeah, I wasn't sure which particular player was even calling foul, but Zaluska will march it up to the front of her own end zone. Trying to break upwind now. A little more of a difficult task, and calling the timeout. I think going on the last possession from the Czech women, they were a little tired. There wasn't a lot of options coming, and Zaluska feeling that that's going to be the same situation again. So Jana Zaluska calling the timeout here for the Czech Republic.
Yeah, it's felt like there's obviously been some breaks on either side, and it's been a relatively back and forth game. But I think maybe this is the first point where I felt like a couple of moments ago I even forgot who started the point on offense. This is maybe the first point that's been dragging on for a little bit. And again, I guess if you're a Czech fan, you're kind of thinking it's a good sign if you're out here keeping the other team's offensive line out on the line. So for the Czechs, I guess happy enough. The wind has kind of maybe switched a little bit again now, perhaps blowing straight towards us now. I did the official grass check here, and yeah, the wind blowing towards us now, so not really favouring either team. And Czechs here with the disc in front of their own end zone, chance to go 2 points up. I believe they started on offense. Not entirely sure, but if that was the case, this would be a chance to get that extra break back. So Belgians are going to be thinking the same. They're going to want to score this one. They have a chance to set up here. I think maybe their best chance might be if they're going to do the zone. I think maybe it needs to be a bit more aggressive. The Czechs are willing to shoot the disc, but the Belgians just have such an advantage in the air, especially if the disc is being thrown in windy conditions. The Czechs capable of maybe the shorter overhead throws, but forcing them to hook it or throw a crossfield shot and put a lot of pressure on might be the Belgians' best chance here, or else a really hard match defense. But we'll see.
Good switching in the last possession, and that put pressure on. This is the Belgium 0 point. Both teams have broken once, but Czech have the disc now, going upwind on their own goal line. So a difficult ask. You see all the fruits and water bottles being provided by the Belgium backroom staff, and they have no shortage of helpers here. The Belgium team.
Yeah, they helped me with some of the names earlier this morning and offered us some food in the last game. So great to see so many of them here. And just to correct myself, it's I think we're back on serve. So this is basically would be to put the Czech Republic up a break if they were able to convert this one.
And a strong Czech Republic delegation here as well. The open team not making the semis, but a really good side and put on a great show for us.
Yeah, I think yesterday the first thing I heard after the game was their coach asking, or before their quarterfinal, was the Czech coach asking the Italian coach, "Why did you have to do this to us before the game?" I think the Czechs, looking at other results, potentially were good enough to be a semi-finalist team here, and maybe got the tough end of the draw. The Italian men looking like the best team here.
So coming out with the zone look here. And a foul called. This is a different zone now from Belgium. Well, maybe it is match. I'm not sure. It was definitely a little bit poachy and saggy. And definitely kind of hanging out in the lane here downfield, the Belgians. I want to call it a junky, switchy defense, but now cover is blown, and the Czechs moving forward with momentum and purpose. The Belgians scramble to recover, but this could be a massive upwind break for the Czechs. Now with Bavakova, who had a block earlier on this point. It's been a mammoth point, and there it is. The Czech women get the break, and you can see what it means to them. They have some tired legs. Eliška Stanislavova getting it done.
Yeah, big break for the Czechs there, and you can start to hear the rattles on the sideline as the Czech Open team starts to arrive and offer a bit of sideline support here now. And as I was saying previously, maybe they're feeling a little tough done by in this one, the way this one played out, as the one of the teams to beat the Germans actually in their group stage, and ended up being knocked out by the Italians yesterday. So very wide open. Open division. I think one or two teams slightly ahead, but that bronze medal could have gone to about 5 or 6 different teams. Whereas I think here in the women's division, I think it's fair to say that every team currently probably where they're supposed to be in the last round of games. If for anyone who was following the games closely, you probably would have predicted something very close to this after the end of day one.
That last point, 12 minutes long. Most of the points, 2-3 minutes. There was a timeout in the middle of it, so that does add to the clock, but it was, a very long point. They always feel like momentum swingers, and momentum back with the Czechs now.
Yeah, we got to see how maybe that impacts the Belgian O-line if they were out there for so long. It depends how many players they maybe brought in and switched up, or perhaps they're just very well conditioned and it's not going to make that much of a difference.
And Eliška Stanislavova, that was just her 3rd goal of the tournament, but what a time to get it in the bronze medal, an upwind break. Now Belgium have to go upwind on offense. But good flow for them already in this possession. Again, on the reset, just putting it out into space, making it easy for Fries to run onto it. Now back with Franca Pays, who has got the retrofit jersey, had to change the number on the back, but tearing upfield now is Belgium. That is brilliant from the ever-free Fries. Brilliant up the line cut, clean hold, just what they needed after that marathon point.
Yeah, she's been their stats leader for most of the week, and team captain as well. So really, when they needed someone to step up, who better than your one of your team captains to get the job done and add to her tally for the weekend. And again, now it gives the Belgian O-line a little bit of a rest, a much needed rest after the last point. And again, maybe the Czechs now see how they respond. Potentially also that last long point, you imagine maybe the D-line and the Belgians had a little bit of time to talk about what they might be able to do different. So sometimes it can be difficult as a coach of a team to actually get enough time to actually talk to your line and make an adjustment. And it's not always enough time with a timeout, because for a timeout, I usually find a timeout needs to be a more mental shift for the entire team. So maybe that last long point, they had plenty of time on defense to rest. And a fresh D-line coming out here, so perhaps a good chance to play some tight, aggressive match defense.
We'll see if Sophie Delanote wants another birthday break. That's what the Belgians want. And it looks like Franca Pays is staying out there after playing that last point. It was a very quick one. And the Belgian women went to the water park yesterday after their, I want to say, quarterfinal win. It's definitely hot here in Slovakia, so they took the opportunity to cool down. That a visionary throw, now in power position, no hesitation, forehand to the end zone. That, some brilliant offense. And after a very messy point, both teams answer back with clean holes.
Yeah, I think it was Lashkova there with the goal, and not sure if she did her signature flip, but maybe she's been warned to watch out in case she injures herself. It's been making some highlights this year of, I would imagine, probably some sort of gymnast in her spare time with some of the acrobatics I've seen. But again, a good time, good quick score, and again, Belgium's going to have to get back out there and try and see if they can do what they did in their last offensive point and run it down the field nice and quick and slot it in for a score. That one very effective by the Czechs. Oh, no flip there. Maybe saving it if she scores the winner.
She'll probably be doing some flips in the water park later if she wins a bronze medal.
Tells me there's going to be a lot of ultimate players in that water park later. I heard rumor during the week that perhaps they had it booked out for. I don't know if that's the case, but
You do get a discount if you're participating in the tournament, just 15% off.
or perhaps a discount maybe like you might have got yesterday.
I snuck in one of the times, not gonna lie, but there was just nobody at the gate. I have paid to go in there. If you enter after 6th, I think it's usually like €8, then 15% off, probably something €7. Which is pretty good value. The Magic Slide I would recommend.
Yeah, the water park probably 1.5 good hooks from here. That's how far away we are from a pretty nice little water park.
Yeah, fantastic sports facilities here in Trnava. Belgium, some nice give-go offense to get the first few yards of the field. Desmond hits the under. Kopians looking backwards and the face guarding on the reset from the Czechs, but the Belgians have a plan. They're just like, hey, I'll stand still and you put it out in the space. Oh, and a dangerous throw. Neither receiver can run that one down. Thought both might have a bite at it, but not sure if they're confused or just too much zip in it. So chance to break for half for the Czech Republic.
Yeah, I thought that as well. I think maybe there was a bit of it where both the players potentially maybe had a moment where they thought it was for someone else, and in the end, I think both of them, if they were the only player there, potentially in a position to maybe make a spectacular catch, but the fact that both of them were there ends up being the reason that maybe neither of them ends up anywhere near it. And like you said, a chance here for the Czechs if they get a break here, it would be to take half.
You see the Belgian drums banging in the background, making a nice beat, and then the Czech women are actually dancing to it, which is kind of unusual. But they definitely like to dance out there. A little hesitation. I don't think there's any call, just taking a moment to gather herself. So, chance to break for half here. This could be a massive moment in the game. Kleshkova driving up line now in power position. Clara launches one, and it just fades at the last second.
Yeah, I was pretty sure there. I thought Chekova was going to be one of the players who throws that. Such a strong thrower on this team, and maybe just the fact she had to put a little bit extra touch on that, just out of the reach of Pavla Valichkova, one of the Hachny Prebram teammates there linking up, unable to connect on that one. Another one of those clubs with a lot of young players.
And a deep shot from Belgium. They look to go straight away. Great hands on the reception. Peter Hespiel, and they're playing some champagne ultimate. The Belgians work it the whole way up the field in just 2 passes. Van den Busche gets the goal.
Yeah, and that's how quickly it can go from one end to the other. We were probably 1 foot away from the Czechs taking half, and now we're just getting the trumpets from the Belgians on the far sideline.
Yeah, some fantastic trumpeteering.
Yeah, it's weird for me hearing that exact one because I'm so used to it in the Six Nations being a French thing, but imagine they don't have it patented.
Yeah, I guess there's French-speaking parts of Belgium anyway, that's for sure. And plenty of players from both Flanders and Wallonia on this Belgian side. I think Belgium has a stack of line here. I really think they need to do that. I think I would have called a timeout as well, possibly, and stacked the line. You feel like they want to get a break back before half. If you stack the line, you get scored on. Okay, you get a chance to rest. If you do get the break, well, then you put the pressure on Belgium. But it doesn't look like they're doing that on this occasion.
Yeah, sometimes, though, you might also say if they feel the momentum is with them, a timeout might give the other team a chance to reset. So I always think before I call a timeout, is the other team in a situation where they would benefit from the timeout also? And if that's the case, then perhaps don't take it. But
I think you got to stack a line, though, on this occasion.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they did, but I would agree with you there that this would be the time to go for it. There's nothing to lose with stacking a line here.
So again, that Belgium zone and the drums roll low on the Belgian sideline. Czechs unfazed now, taking her time to survey the field. And good to see Zuzana Chekova back on the field. She was the one that came off with the injury earlier on in this half and back to their full complement now. Two Chekova sisters getting involved in around the handler space as being slowed down here a lot. The Czechia side, but not much pressure coming for them. You can see the Czechs happy to go over and back like a seesaw, gaining a few yards here and there, but maybe tiring out as well. The Belgium defense having to jog from side to side. The Czechs just allowing the disc to do all the work for the moment.
Yeah, and I think the Czechs, they've started to move forward a little bit now, but I think they were being a little almost too slow at progressing against that zone.
Massive moment for Belgium. The deep cut comes. There's some free unders if they can find them. Good control and just a drop. Big moment for the Czechs. They want to get moving fast, and they fire down the line. And that is a brilliant goal for a half. Vachova getting it done, tearing down the field, and a big opportunity goes to begging for Belgium.
Yeah, I think that's maybe potentially her third, or at least it's definitely her second, and I'm almost certain third or potentially fourth goal of the game. So she's having a bit of a blinder here in the bronze medal game, and again, a really good one to take for half for the Czechs. And Belgians now are going to have a bit of work to do in the second half. But like I've said, both these teams is very capable of going back and forth. So we'll just start jamming to the Belgian.
In a rendition of "We Will Rock You." Again, Queen, not necessarily a band from Belgium, but they're banging out all the hits. This Belgium sideline, and we're going to take a quick break at halftime here, folks, and we'll leave you with the sound of the Belgium band on the sideline. Stay tuned for more second half action coming up. welcome back to the European Youth Ultimate Championships. We're here in the women's division bronze medal game. We take a look at the women's division scoreboard. Any thoughts there, John, from you on some of the standouts of this whole tournament here in the women's division? Quite a lot of Czech names on that board.
Yeah, I think the Czechs heavily sticking with the, well, I say that now as their leading stats players coming off the line here. I believe she's normally playing on the O-line, Austrian player with the lead. Maybe I should give a bit of quick feedback to the Czech player there and tell her if she goes have the game of her life in the second half, she can also take the stats away with the stats leaders. One or two players with a chance maybe tomorrow to come back and take that. But
Belgium's down 8-6. It's been a strong performance from the Czechia side here in the first half. A little confusion about who's supposed to be on what line, and I believe Belgium will be on offense. And do a little shuffle step on their way down the field, the Czechs.
Bunch of comedians. I could see them having fun. I'm not sure if they factored in Hadova's stats there. She's on 3 for this game, so she might be actually very close to being in the lead for the stats. And
yeah, maybe just 2 more to tie it up, I think.
Although I imagine that check was probably done at halftime, so maybe it was factored in.
The Spiel gets downfield and right in good field position now. The Belgians, Adams goes for the round backhand. The Spiel has eyes for the end zone, but still is isolating Adams. Some nice give-go action from the Belgians on this occasion. Sticking with that forced backhand. Desmet collects well. Looking for the inside shot. Good flow here from Belgium. They dance during the halftime to "We Will Rock You," and they rock their way into the end zone. A clean hole, some brilliant offense. You can see they're celebrating, and they should. That's just how they wanted to start the second half. Now we're seeing the William Tell arrow on the apple, and both sides having a lot of fun out there.
Yeah, I mean that's why you play the game, really, and why not have some fun when you're in with a chance on the final game to take away a European medal. I'm sure a lot of these players have some from previous teams they've been on. I believe there's been some good under-17 teams in recent seasons, and a couple of the Czech players, I believe in Padova recently, got a bronze medal. So I'm sure they're gonna want to make sure that they get another one here to add to the collection. Never a bad thing when you can add a European medal to your collection, especially at juniors level, because you only get so many years at that. And for some of these players, it might be potentially their last chance to get a medal on a national team, as when you move up to the higher age brackets, there's obviously more competition for the spots as you're in with a larger pool of players.
The Youth Championships, just a glimpse in time, memories that can last forever here on the sunny fields in Slovakia. And there's the dance moves from the Czechs. And another bricked pull. And I think both sides have been struggling to pull in that direction, often a little short. So if it's going to be short, you might as well brick it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I feel like they've all been out to this side. And this, if you were to try and throw an intentional pull, the exact area the disc is going out is where I would expect most of those to go. And we'll give the players the benefit of the doubt that they're all doing it purposefully.
Zaluska to anchor the offense. Going side to side again, the Czechs, and don't know if this is a tactic just to go over and back for a second or two to try and maybe tire the Belgians out or wait for a gap. Not a whole lot of purpose in terms of gaining yards downfield. Now they hit the wing and try and get a little bit of space. And this is a brilliant zone from Belgium now. Some momentum downfield. They're going for the overhead shot. The arcing backhand. Brilliant to Katarina. Now back with Hadova. Oh, and again, teasing their way into the end zone. Brilliant stuff. Vachova, another one of the standouts and stat leaders at this tournament, and very patient to start off, but start eating up the yards, the Czechs, and they have the ability, they have the audacity to go all the way in this bronze medal matchup.
Yeah, and like you said at the start of that point, almost no real urgency by either team, and I think it's early enough yet that the Belgians don't have to try and force anything, but the Czechs, I think, potentially a team where if you can make them do that a little bit longer, they might actually get a little bit excited and throw something over the top. But again, good coaching staff with them here. Yara, as we call him, a long-time coach in the women's division. Usually, when I first came over, he was working with the under-17s. I believe he led them. I believe he was the coach the year they actually won the under-17 European Championships, and I imagine many of those players have been playing closely with him for years. So he's going to know this team really well, and he'll have been through many highs and lows with this team also. So good to see them sticking with a coach for so many years, and he's doing great work with the youth scene in the women's ultimate in the Czech Republic.
And it is hot out here today in Slovakia. The sun heating up this bronze medal game. That pull inbounds. And Belgium get to work straight away. Combes. Dale. Sticking with his forced backhand for the majority of this game. That a lofty throw. And generally when they've put it in the air, the Belgians come down with it. That high release backhand is something that the Czech team needed more to take away. That a crossfield backhand. This could be dangerous. And a couple of times they've been unable to connect, and that final shot, just not enough touch on it, and it's been the kryptonite for Belgium inside the end zone. Just need to stay with those lofty throws, make them forgiving, give your receiver a chance.
Yeah, and Belgium's just a little unfortunate. They haven't had too many opportunities to use their deep game, and perhaps they haven't really needed to use it so much in this game. Just overthrowing, and perhaps the Czech coach was right at the start. He felt they got a bit of joy by forcing the Belgians deep, and the Czechs here going to have another chance to go back the other way now and get the break. And it seems like the Belgians have set up with a zone, and I'm a bit of a fan of if your O-line turns over to come out with a zone setup, because you're playing against the D-line offense now, and they're always going to struggle a bit more against the zone. So good to interesting choice, but I like it by the Belgian O-line here to set out this zone.
Yeah, I do like a O-line playing zone. This is slightly different to the one their D-line is playing. It's maybe a little more force middle and trying to be a bit more aggressive around the handlers, but doing well to swing around the house now. This would be huge for Czechia if they could get another upwind break.
Yeah, they have a couple of I would say they're more cannon type throwers on this line. So if a gap does open up, expect one or two of the handlers not to be afraid to throw a deep shot or to throw something over the top.
Again, incredibly patient, the Czech women, and sneaking a few yards when they can. Now at Czechova, trying to run a give-go, but in no rush to do things. There's Clara and Elena who've been connecting well. And now all three sisters, Susanna, involved too, trying to march their troops upwind, wanting to get another break. Elena, back to Clara. And Pavla getting involved as well. You can see they want the deep shot, but the way this Belgium zone is set up is there's not a lot of options deep. And now they split the mid and the deep in this occasion. Holster, the continuation Belgium scramble. Tuletsova gets the reset. Velichkova. And now the give go. This one ballooning into the air. It's going to be hotly contested. And Belgium win the battle in the sky.
Yeah, the Belgian patience pays off there as the Czech player just a bit of, I won't say unfortunate, but there's a little bit of a breeze there and it just was a bit forced. And I think the Czechs they could have had an easy break there and put the Belgians in a really tough spot, and now just give it back and the Belgians get to go the other way now.
Oh, and a wayward throw gives it back to the Czechs. The shot was there, but they don't connect. Velichkova on the sideline now. Again, another high throw. This one can't connect either. They've been doing well until they look to the end zone, then maybe forcing it a small bit or finding themselves in a bit more of a pressure situation.
Yeah, and I feel like this is a really big point for both teams. If the Czechs can get this, it requires the Belgians to get 3 breaks and a timeout call there. And
Belgium are tired. I think that's what it is. I think it's a tired out.
yeah, I'm unsure about the timeout there. Sometimes I'm usually very confident if I like or don't like a timeout, and I'm completely unsure what my opinion is on that timeout. I think it just depends. For the Belgian O-line, you obviously aren't very happy with the way things are going, and the Czechs look the more likely to score this. So perhaps just the Belgian O-line a bit unsure what they want to do here, but it gives the Czechs a chance as we see the massive Czech flag being brought around by one of the Czech Open players there, Milan from 3SB. Good lad, good lad.
Good flag.
Massive flag, massive. There'll be a few people sleeping under that tonight if they lock themselves out of their rooms anyway. So.
You know the origin behind the flag or what the colours represent, or?
No, back in the day I would have known. When I was younger, I remember looking at a book with a bunch of flags and stickers telling me what they're all about. But
Well, find out there during the stoppage, Johnny. You need some research on the Czech flag. You're living there.
I'm sure now there's a certain person on the phone who's probably, if they're listening right now, they will send either of us the message and probably correct some pronunciation errors and tell us a few other things that we forgot to say and mention 1 or 2 club teams that we haven't mentioned enough. I do my best to be somewhat unbiased in those areas.
I still want you to try and say your wife's name. Full name, first and last name. Maybe middle name. I don't know what her middle name is, so you can make one up if you want. But go on, give us a go, John.
Oh, I don't want to embarrass myself now. We can.
I won't embarrass you. That's what I'm trying to do.
Whenever she says, "Oh, how come we're not getting married?" I'll say, "I'll wait till I can say your name." Again, there's a chance she's probably taken our son out for the day out here. So, as much as she enjoys the frisbee, I look at the phone now. 15 minutes ago, receiving a photo. So I would imagine there's a good chance that they're outside in the sun and happy to just hear the update of this game after. Not that she isn't like the biggest fan in the world of Ultimate, along with me, but it's more that our little 2-year-old, he doesn't need to watch entire games and perhaps watch some of the language that both his parents might speak when we watch Ultimate. We're very non-PG, despite how much time and effort we put into helping players. We've oh, they are watching. So there, maybe we might get some comments in the chat, our personal chats. It's funny now.
Spiel will pick it up for Belgium. Coming out here in a horizontal stack, and the Czech coaches issuing the orders and the matchups.
Yeah, Aaron this morning shouting Este year now, which means one more when he was opening the Barry's tea bags delivering from Ireland. So maybe he'll be saying that here about a Czech break. Can they get one more? I do have 1 or 2 words of Czech, so if my son is able to use it, I feel that's the standard for me being able to use it. So Este year now break is what we want here, and I'm probably getting criticized for my Czech pronunciation now, but it's the thought that counts, isn't it?
Belgium with possession. You can see kind of a junky defense from the Czech. The 2 players nearest, somewhat honest and under. There's a poach on the break side and the deep side. And there, one of the poaches underneath gets the block, and That looked like a great goal.
That looked like it could not be a score until it wasn't.
But
Now we're back
Belgium-
underway after the timeout, we'll say.
Yeah. Belgium living on the edge here. Again, the high release backhand, the weapon of choice. That's an adjustment Czechs need to make on the force, particularly against the taller matchups. That a dangerous disc. Well rescued. High in the stall count now. Gonna have to wang it deep and not gonna make it all the way to the end zone. And there's some textbook dribbling down the side from the Czechs. And now, hopeful forehand. A little too much muscle in that one.
Yeah, this point goes on, and you get the feeling like perhaps this could be the one, the decisive point of the game. The Czechs getting so many chances to get a break, and the Belgians, you feel if they can score after all this, that they just have to have a good belief that they just can't fail to get more opportunities of breaks.
Working down the sideline here. Still have some energy. Fombez. Gets it off the line. The Spiel. Hits the middle. Dale. All the players on the field using what's left in the reserve tank. And now a feathery forehand. Not sure if anyone can get there. Oh, sensational. Didn't think she had a chance at it. She had no right to get that whatsoever. And Belgium score the mammoth point on this occasion.
Yeah, I think it was the captain there leading by example again. I believe it was a Freeze catching it. And again, that was a huge hold for the Belgians. And you got to think, if you're on the Czech side now, it's like so many missed opportunities there. 2 or 3 times it was almost harder to turn over. And we hear the trumpets and the drums and the fans from the Belgian side now. Maybe they don't quite realize how big a hold that one was, but you can be sure we're going to hear about it now if they end up scoring this break.
And this, a fantastic forehand. I'm not sure who the intended target was, but getting horizontal, putting her team on the back, and gets up and receives the big hug. Freeze. What a performance from her in this bronze medal match. And I'm sure many of the Belgian O-line happy to come off the field there and just get a bit of a rest.
Yeah, and they're going to be hoping the last thing they want right now is the Czechs to slot it in. And I would imagine the best thing you could do here, if you're smart, is come out with that zone again and just be a bit extra passive with it. Don't necessarily like it normally, but this is definitely a time to consider doing the more passive zone and just slow the Czechs down and just at least keep them out for 60 seconds.
Czechs wanting to get some kind of give-go-flow action. Moving around the front of the zone with a little more purpose, but there they find a seam on the sideline. And the Belgian trumpet trying to lift the spirits of the D-line, give them some musical energy. Politska, again, everyone getting involved, keeping the disc moving. Hadova trying to do some Slusta-esque dribbling. Politska, again, looking very composed, gaining yards. Not rushing anything, the Czechs. It's like a transition out to match and an opportunity to be a bit more aggressive with their movement downfield. The Belgian sideline definitely louder, and a fumble.
Yeah, great reactions there by the Belgian defender to knock that one away, and almost caught again on the second time of asking. And Belgians haven't been level in a long time, but they have a chance here to get it back on serve.
Oh, dangerous high release pass. Plucked out of the stars over Slovakia. Nobody in the reset space, getting high in the stall count, has to go wide. Clinging on to this one. Vanessa moves to the birthday girl. Delanote clears out. Oh, and off the fingertips. And Paget. That was a big opportunity for Belgium.
It was. I feel like in the last point, if the Czechs had got the break, it could have been their game. And I feel if the Belgians get this one, I think they're going to be the team that have all the momentum behind them. And I'd slightly worry for the Czechs here if the Belgians score.
A nice undercut. Can't connect, though. He's looking a tiny bit tired. And it's hot out there now. Deep shot is there. Pays. Goes with that high release backhand again. It's a good flow down the break side. Brilliant from Belgium now. Looks like they're enjoying themselves out there. Pays again wants something towards the break side. Takes Paget and they punch it in. And that is a break for Belgium. They tie it up here, or do they? Travel's called.
She's saying that she caught it and then jumped in. Doesn't seem to be too much complaining from the Belgians. We get a look at it here, maybe.
I think that was a goal.
Yeah, I think that she clearly caught it in the air anyway. I didn't see the line in the replay, but.
And a nice swerve cut to the front corner, rounds it this time. Schulte gets the assist instead of the goal. And the break train gets tearing its way down the tracks, and we're all tied up here. And that is an upwind break as well, and the Belgian sideline going absolutely berserk right now. Electrifying atmosphere here in this bronze medal game.
Yeah, huge break for Belgium there, and like I said, I think if they got that one there, the Czechs are going to be in a bit of trouble, and the Czechs leadership realizes that they called the timeout, and I imagine we're just going to hear a bit more noise out of the Belgians now when they realize it's a timeout. They have all the momentum now, and again, I think the Czechs, crucial timeout here. If the Belgians were to come out here and get another break, I think it would be almost game over mentally for the both teams. And you can see just by looking and listening, nothing but energy from the Belgians now, and the Czechs look somewhat deflated.
But they'll have possession this next point, so they can still hold their way to victory. I feel like Belgium have a bit of momentum now, and they have the wind and the sideline to support them. Massive point coming up next. Looks like there is a timeout called. Wouldn't be surprised if it was the Czechs perhaps trying to kill some of the momentum that Belgium got and rest some of their stars after that long point and just reset the minds.
Yeah, and the wind's starting to pick up a little bit more here now than it was earlier in the game. And again, just a crazy last 2 points. It looked like at one stage the Czechs had a chance to almost put the game out of sight. Then the Belgians come back in the next point and they completely changed the momentum of the game. And not a whole lot of time here left. And if we have any more long points like that, we're going to be basically having a game, probably most likely a game to 11 or 12 is probably the most likely outcome at this stage. So not too many chances left. The Czechs currently do have the advantage of having the disc being thrown to them, but really depends how they come out here. If they get broken again after that timeout, it could be a very bad ending. I could see the Belgians going, and maybe the Czechs mightn't even score for the rest of this one. So I feel like this next point is absolutely critical for the Czechs. The Belgians, I think they can still come back if they concede this one, but the Czechs, if they concede this one, could be the start of the beginning of the end.
8 minutes left in this bronze medal game. The Czechs will be coming out on offense, having to go upwind. Let's see what Belgium can bring on defense. Definitely bringing the energy on the sideline. Shorter pull and a chance for the Czechs to capitalize. Again, this zone slightly different than the fully passive one. Kind of a forced middle. Oh, and a horse bolting from the gates, but can't get there in time. And Belgium is trying to tire the Czechs out mentally, I think. Allowing them to get the easy reset. Nice high release backhand. And good continuation to keep the momentum now with Vachovat. Goes back. Zaluska at times really anchoring the offense, but she looks very casual out there. Doesn't look like she has any intention of injecting some pace into this offense. And essentially playing with 4 handlers here, the Czechs, and struggling to get yards on occasion. And they're attacking the wings. Velichkova wants to go backwards, and there's an intensity to this game, but it's not coming from the Czech O-line handlers. It's coming from the scoreboard and the time clock as we're all tied at 9s. I don't know if the Czechs are running out of ideas, or is this the game plan of just keep possession. Now you see the Belgians get a little tighter, and now they find some space down the gates, and that looked clearly out of bounds to me. And it's going to be a turnover. Vachovat probably not aware of the sideline a little bit there. So a chance to take the lead. I believe the first time of the game. Belgium stacked very far away. Swing is there though. Well executed backhand swing, and not a lot of options downfield. Somebody needs to cut to that break side. That's what Pays wants. It's an open side shot that can't connect, and disappointing for the Belgian offense there. Had a chance to take the lead. So back with the Czechs now, and this side-to-side metronome gets ticking. Zaluska hits Petrova, and on the doorstep now, trying to scramble on defense, but they get it done. Brilliant from the Czech Republic. And of course, Hadova leading the charge and up the field.
Yeah, crucial score for the Czechs there. I was watching, obviously a little bit biased, and I was just getting a bit frustrated with some of the turns they were having. But their patience was very good, other than that one pass on the sideline where they basically got through the zone and then rushed it, and perhaps there was a bit of uncertainty about where the line was. They looked good other than that. Belgians missed a good chance there to again, like I said, I thought if the Belgians had scored that one, perhaps they have all the momentum and would go ahead with it, but now the Czechs have a chance here, and I don't feel quite the same about this one. I know I just said a minute ago if the Belgians got a break, it would be very hard to come back. I think if there's a team more likely to come back in this game from a tough situation, I would favor it to be the Belgians. I think the Czechs need to get another break here if they're going to win this game. I feel the Belgians, I know there's not much time left, but I feel the Belgians are very likely to get one more break in this game. If the Czechs could get one here, then I would be a bit more confident. Right now I would say it's very 50-50 in my opinion on who's going to win this, even though the Czechs have a clear advantage right now.
Silke de la Forte and Esther Van Wyk giving the commands from the coaching bench for this Belgium side. Now coming out on offense, feeling the pull, coming with that horizontal stack. Just an honest person defense, good flow up the field. Again, going upwind. That one, oh, Desmond got her hand on it, and it was the ground that stripped her.
Yeah, really unfortunate for there. She did a good job to hold on to that, and again, just the ground strip does it. And Czechs here with a huge opportunity now to get that break and get that advantage I was talking about. I do feel there's going to be more breaks in this game.
Elena Czechova hits the up line, looking for the deep shot. A lot of touch on that. It could be money, but out of nowhere comes Adams, showing her worth. An injection of pace. I thought that was going to be a Czech break, but Adams says, do not pass go, do not collect 200 pounds, but they can't gather another one.
Yeah, Pavla Velichkova there just putting the pressure on and getting the turn back.
And No hesitation with the forehand hook again.
Two sisters there almost linking up, but Czechs just overshooting here. And again, they're only going to get so many chances to get a break here, and I feel they have to get this one. The Belgians just about holding on right now, but
now a big old buttery biscuit. Oh, and brilliant defense yet again from Czechs. It's been a defensive showcase from both sides. That time from
Bachova there, yeah, she's been on the scoreboard a couple of times, and captain leading by example here. Huge play by her.
Bachova stepping up when it matters most. Beware of that sideline now again. Chakova pushing up the field. Bushkova trapped on the sideline now, going backwards. A little smile there from Adams. And they're taking their time to pick this one up, even though there's a chance for the quick break, but not in any particular rush here, the Belgians. Dalle, Bonnie Dalle, with the disc in her hands, and just goes coast to coast with no hesitation. Fearless throwing in a clutch moment. Pombez hits the middle, and oh, brilliant rescue. That one was the right idea, a little bit out in front, but nothing was going to stop Freeze, and that one just tossed out to the backhand break side, and you always favor the offense to come away with that one, and not sure who the intended target was, but a spicy clean hold in the end.
Yeah, the Czechs there again, just giving the Belgians too many chances to score, and I feel this one and a couple of points ago where the Czechs had 2 or 3 chances to score, I feel they've now had 2 chances, in my opinion, to almost put this game to bed, and they just keep failing to kind of put that final nail in the coffin of the Belgians. And I'm not sure if time is gone now.
I think it's about to go now. I'm looking at the clock of about 10 seconds. I see a volunteer.
Well, if we're going to have a game, to 12, I kind of hate to say it, but I think I favor the Belgians. They as they say, sometimes you just gotta kill the other team when you get the chances, and the Czechs have failed to do it, and now maybe perhaps the Belgians are going to take advantage of it. Potentially 2-3 points left in this game. This is the time where you just load your lines. I think both teams probably have a timeout, so Belgian sideline probably going to get extremely loud now. Perhaps they want to be more near the other end of the field, put the pressure on them, but huge Belgian sideline, and I'm not hearing as much of the Czechs lately, but that's probably just because the Belgians drowning them out.
Well, it's good to see the open side of there, and they have those little rattles. Probably not as loud as the Belgian trumpets and drums, but trying to rattle their way to victory here. And that, the crown of drum, going to get need some new skins in that drum come the end of the summer. Was banging on that drum in Logroño as well, but we're here in Slovakia now, and better from the Czech offense, trying to gain momentum quickly. Holiska. A bit more of an honest defense, I think, from the Belgians. No, definitely flashing in the lanes at times. Good switch downfield. And this has been such a long battle for both sides. Final game of the tournament. Already had that semi-final loss this morning for both teams. Got to regroup, find whatever energy you have. Who can step up? Who can fight their way to victory? Zaluska goes crossfield, and they're so good at slowing down the Czech side. Some nice ballet footwork to stay in bounds by Zaluska. Thinks about the deep shot, goes for a crossfield blade. This can be difficult to read, and she just about hangs on to that one. Living on a knife's edge. That was a fantastic catch.
Yeah, and the Belgians, basically that was the only option they were given the Czechs.
Big layout attempt.
I think that one's probably going to be it looked a bit like maybe a stripper. Not sure, there doesn't.
Tinka Tushi's maybe debating that she had possession of the disc.
Not too sure. I felt when it was thrown, I was confident the Czech player was going to have it, but I didn't actually see the actual catch itself. So
I think Tushi's throwing herself around. Bit of a discussion going on. Can't see this one going either way. Let's have a look at it again. And definitely was trying to pull the rabbit out of the hat there.
not sure if we can see that one a bit slower, we might get a better idea. And don't think we're going to be able to tell from there, but
No, we're looking. The Czech receiver is blocking our view, Vachova. So I don't think we're going to get a clean look at it. Incredible effort.
yeah, the
I
only
didn't
thing
think there was a play on it,
yeah,
but
the same. I think the only thing we can tell from there was it was a lot closer than we expected it to be. So again, I think in this situation, either the players are going to come to a conclusion or it's going to be contested. And again, we've no idea here. All we know is probably super close. And if it's that close, I don't think there's any problem with a contested one there.
great effort on defense nonetheless from Tinkatushi. So goes back to Jana Zaluska.
Like I said, I feel the momentum slightly with the Belgians now. Although I don't know, I feel like this long stoppage somehow, I don't know why, but in my head I feel like this slightly resets it, that the Czechs are going to have a bit more focus now, as long as the first couple of passes off and don't turn over straight away with a short field turn.
Good pressure from the Belgian side though. This is a real mental game now. Babakova out there on offense as well for the Czechs. Babakova again having to go backwards. And just some great movement from the handler marks up top from Belgium, just to take away a lot of the options, not make an easy throw. Trying to force in the Czech Republic to taking on something a little more tricky. Thinks about the overhead. Puts that one away. And beckoning her receivers to come shallower, not liking the options downfield from the Czech cutters. And now the hammer goes up. That one's going to work. Almost a mermaid catch. Not sure if she controlled that with her legs, but more importantly, gets behind the zone. And Belgium filter back in. Throwing everything they got at this one. The Belgians and the Czechs. Got to congratulate both of them on a fantastic bronze medal game so far, but there can only be one winner. Zaluska sits out a forehand, well taken down, high in the sky. Dola Zalova tearing down the field now, but looked off on that occasion. Getting some good momentum going here. Again, exceptionally patient, the Czechs. Asking for it to be thrown into space. And they go around the house. Can they get there? Yes, they can. Brilliant from the Czech Republic. They get the hold. It was tough. Questions were asked of them. But they go coast to coast, hit the far corner. Brilliant stuff from the Czech Republic.
Yeah, like I said, I think that stoppage in play where the Belgians potentially, like again, we couldn't see it, but when that first uncertain catch under pressure, when the Czechs were able to hold on to that one, I felt it almost reset the mindset of the players. Sometimes you get that nervous energy when you're on the line, but then the potential strip or contested strip just kind of might reset the mindset and gets you over the fact that you're playing in such a big moment. And I felt somewhat confident that the Czechs were going to be able to score after that, and they're showing good patience. There isn't quite enough wind that I think the overheads are difficult, and I think the Belgians probably did the right thing there. And sometimes that kind of quick 6 passes in to gain 5 meters that the Czechs are known for, the pop passes, sometimes that can be what undoes your offense. But so many of these Czech players playing so long together and probably have had so many turnovers in these situations. I think I've obviously said a minute ago I thought I favoured the Belgians, but for the Belgians to get 2 in a row now, I feel that obviously the momentum is definitely with the Czechs now. So I'm gonna shift it to feeling like I'd be a bit more confident in not a prediction, but I'd be a bit more confident the Czechs might actually get a break here to take the win. Assuming it is a game to 12.
I think we can assume that at this stage. Now with the Spiel getting high to stall count. Gets Dalla working hard on the under. Again, sticking with the forced backhand. The Czechs, they feel it's done enough. Big pump fake from the Spiel, trying to create some space under that one. A low disc. A daisy cutter picked up from the turf. Some nice give-go here in power position. The Spiel goes with the backhand on the forehand side. There was a poach in the lane. Come flashing in is Hadova. Did she get there first?
It looked like it was going to be very close, but I feel like it might be like the last one. Maybe they had it at the same time. We'll already see people pointing at us, and it's hard to know if she had control of that. I'm usually pretty good at being unbiased now. I really have no idea. It just depends if the Belgian player felt she had full control of that. She potentially gets, I think maybe
I think
time.
that should be offense. It looks same time on the slow roll replay we're looking at.
Yeah, I think I would lean potentially towards that being a goal.
And it's a goal! Magnificent. Hadova, great defensive effort, but the slow-mo replay comes up trumps on that occasion, and they flood the field, Belgium.
Yeah, and credit to the Czech coaching staff. It was actually them who came over here, looked at the video, and said that they felt that was a score. So we got to give credit to the coaching staff. One of them tells the other, and he immediately signals the goal, no questions asked. And that was extremely close, but I think that was the right decision.
Spiel with that kind of granddad backhand on the forehand side to Kopejans, who rises to the occasion to bring this one to universe point. What a scene we have. Incredible scenes, John.
Yeah.
Everyone here in the showcase field standing up to applaud these two fantastic sides, and whoever comes out victorious, you know, hats off to both teams. They've given us a real great game, a battle of wills.
Yeah, just like the last time they played these teams, not quite 14-14 this time, but they've taken it to universe again. And whatever the outcome of these, like you said, both these teams put on a fantastic game for us here. Both teams had opportunities, fingertips, close grabs, players grabbing the disc at the same time, overshooting the end zone. But all it comes down to now is this point. And again, don't think I'm going to bother making any more predictions. The only prediction I'm going to make is that both these teams are going to take a huge amount away from this, regardless of how it ends. And the Belgians, every single one of their players, I believe, is under 20s eligible next year. The majority of the Czech players are also. So regardless of what way this goes, I'll be looking forward to this match again next year if they end up playing again, if it's potentially in Spain. But here we go now, universe point.
Peter de Spiel with the pull. This one could be a fantastic pull, and that's exactly what it is. The Czechs field it well and get into the middle of the field. Pump fake, the backhand. Now attacking upfield with purpose. They don't look phased at the moment. Brilliant up the line cut from their leader and talisman, Chekova. One of the several sisters on the line now. Again, Hadova has the world in her hands, or has a European bronze medal in her hands, goes cross field, and that is a buttery biscuit to win it for the Czechs. They get the clean hold. They flood the field. Congratulations to them. What an incredible moment. It was mayhem, this game. It was wonderful. The Czechs, deserved winners. Heartbreak for Belgium. They fought so hard. You really feel for them. I don't think any team deserved to lose that game, but they can only beat one winner, John.
Yeah, fantastic game to get our bronze medal games underway. This was, in my opinion, the one to look the most forward to, and what a game they both put on. Neither team, especially the Belgians, should feel like they've let themselves down here. Everyone was watching this game. Fantastic by both teams. Like I said, many of these players going to be going on playing again next year. fantastic result for the Czechs. Both these teams, again, can keep their heads up, and potentially you could say maybe it came down to just the winning the flip at the start. They ended up basically on serve, and both teams had their opportunities, and the Czechs were the ones that ended up getting the job done in the end. So fantastic game, like we said.
The show must go on. We have another bronze medal game lined up for you here, folks. We will have Italy taking on Poland in the mixed division. So we must wrap up this one here, but congratulations to the Czech Republic. Belgium fought hard. Really a great bronze medal game. Could ask for more. For John Doherty, I've been Liam Grant, and stay tuned for the next bronze medal match coming up next.
From a workshop in Bordeaux to Ultimate Fields worldwide, Force Ultimate creates custom gear with care. Locally made, low impact, built to perform. No outsourcing, no shortcuts, every piece crafted in-house by skilled artisans. Built to withstand every dive and sprint, this gear is as tough as your game. Your sport, your team, your Force. Why choose Force? Exceptional quality, eco-friendly production, and every kit is designed with your team's identity in mind. Force Ultimate, built to perform, made to last. Gear up now at force.com.